And in that presentation, I spoke, as I had been speaking for a long time, about how we develop our economy in Southeast Alaska. It's really important that to drive innovation. There's a tool out there called cluster development that we need to bring to our region. This is a process that began, a conversation that began several years ago. We have not seen in Alaska cluster development. People talk about it. There've been some forays into it, but there are now 2 cluster initiatives, regional initiatives, one statewide and one region-wide, existing in Alaska. Fairbanks now has a 3rd experience, and we see in Ketchikan there's also an experience in developing clusters. And it's something new to our state. It's a tool that works. It's a tool that's extremely successful around the world. And so we're just very interested in promoting and supporting that as an economic development tool. A year and a half ago, we put together this is the initial team that collaborated on starting the cluster development process. We used local resources, and we also tapped into national and worldwide expertise in order to bring the best tool, the most thoughtful tool that we could to our region. We're certainly learning as we go. One of the international experts in cluster development said to me early on, if somebody says they know how to do this, run. Because it is fairly while the concept is fairly straightforward, there's many ways to approach cluster development. And so we have a process that we've sort of picked from what we understand to be really good, positive experiences, and that's what we're bringing to the region. And while we're doing that, we're learning as we go how to strengthen our process, modify it so that it really produces results for the private sector. What is an economic cluster? This is really a critical point. A cluster is a set of firms, and you could almost stop there in reading the definition. But that's something that sometimes isn't completely clear when we're talking about cluster development. Is that it really is about industries, and so it's a set of firms in the same or related field, located in the same geographic area, linked by service supplier relationships, reliant on a shared labor market. Firms that complement but also compete with one another, and that derive productive advantage from mutual proximity. That's what a cluster is. And clusters exist in the economy naturally. We didn't just occur to us and then we create the cluster. What the cluster work that we're talking about is when you have an economic cluster, what do you do with it? How do you strengthen that industry cluster? And that's the work that we're talking about. So the clusters exist by themselves. You can identify them. It's what do you do to help them to grow more quickly.